Hello and welcome! Today we're gonna be talking about moving in complete darkness. Let's begin. The first thing I should talk about is how I trained this, seeing as we now live in a world with lampposts and other light sources everywhere, meaning total darkness is increasingly harder to create, at least in urban settings. I mean, even the sky becomes a light source if it's cloudy at this point. If we can't create total darkness, we have to simulate it. I haven't got a blindfold, but I do have a beanie. I just extend the fabric until it reaches the tip of my nose and that's it. I can't see, but I can still breathe. Yes, I could just close my eyes, but I suspect that it's not the same for some reason. And since it's good to train how you fight, it's better not to do that, as it would be bad to do it in a real scenario. Now I am blind, folded, sort of. Now what? Well, now I went to the corridor of my house, a long but thin area where I can concentrate objects on the ground and have walls by my side as a last resort in case I lose my balance. But really, the main purpose is so I don't walk off and away from where the objects are. Speaking of which, the objects or whatever I could find in 5 minutes of search. Boxes, square, rectangular, medium, small, heavy, light, cardboard, plastic, reusable supermarket bags, shoes, long tools made out of some very rigid cardboard. God, I hate them. Bubble wrap, some foam thing. Just random objects you can commonly find on the ground sometimes. So I put the objects on the ground, the beanie on top of my eyes, and went all the way to the end of the corridor, then back down the corridor for a few days. After that, I also started to do something different. I went outside all the way to the gate, put the beanie on and rotated around for a few seconds. Now my objective is to find the house again. Get in, find and walk around all areas of my house. Get back out of the house and reach the gate again, all while not being able to see. Everything at the front of my house is surrounded by walls, and the gate is not see-through, so I don't have to worry about people seeing. So this exercise may have to be adapted to your case. Now the things I learned doing this. The first thing of note is balance. It was very bad at the start. Now it's mediocre. You can improve your balance by doing balance drills. Your objective is to stand on one leg while you lift the other leg and move it around. Sometimes try deliberately throwing yourself off balance so you can attempt to endure and recover your balance. You can start without being blindfolded, then do some time with a blindfold, or beanie in my case. Alternatively, you could just try to wing it and improve your balance by doing the walking around the house or hallway drills. One very important note is that you're not supposed to rely solely on balancing your center of gravity to keep your balance, but also on your leg muscles to keep yourself rigid and in place, as well as your center of gravity aligned. If you struggle to do this, it may be a sign you need to hit some leg days at the gym. Another thing that may ruin your balance is being tired, or EP if you will. For some reason, I just can't keep myself balanced on one leg if I want to sleep. I have found no fix for this besides sleeping, unfortunately. One more thing. You need to have a decent base. You must make sure not to align or get close to align both of your feet in front of each other, as that leads to very poor balance. Here's a poorly made illustrative image. As for walking itself, I have identified that there are two strategies. The first being to lift your leg and foot as high as possible, and the second being to keep your foot close to the ground. The first one has as its main advantage avoiding contact with objects and probing to put your foot back on the ground, which is pretty good as no contact means no sound. But doing that is extremely reliant on your balance. If it's bad, you will start to fall. Then you will have to choose between attempting to hold on to something nearby, quickly putting your foot on the ground, or falling. Trying to hold on to something is kind of risky, as there is a chance that you will find nothing and have to resort to an even quicker step, or fall, find something, but it's something like metal and touching it is loud, find something, but it's something unstable like a coat hanger and fall with it, or you could find a wall that stabilizes you and doesn't make a lot of noise. I avoided doing this as much as possible, as I would not always have walls by my side, and therefore didn't want to develop that as my first instinctual response. Then there is putting your feet on the ground. Very risky, as there is a good chance you will kick something and make lots of noise, have an imperfect step and make some noise, or a low chance of a perfect step with little to no noise at all. Falling is by far the worst option. It's guaranteed to make noise, hurt you and leave you vulnerable due to being on the ground. But back to the lift leg strategy. On the probing to put your foot on the ground phase, you should go as low as possible in order to minimize the sounds of impacts on objects. The second strategy, to keep your foot close to the ground, is good as it doesn't rely on your balance too much, making it very unlikely that you will begin to fall, but it also means you will have lots of contact with everything on the ground, so potentially lots of noise. You can minimize that potential noise by going very slowly. That way, any impacts on objects will make as little noise as possible. It will also be slightly less likely to tip over long objects set upright and make them fall, making lots of noise. Overall, I personally prefer to begin by keeping close to the ground and switching to the lift strategy once I find an object that I wish to bypass, instead of looking for a way around for whatever reason I find at the moment. In other words, be flexible with the strategies. On the objects that I use as obstacles, the cardboard tubes set up right were certainly the most annoying. The slightest touch was capable of sending them down to the ground. I eventually got the idea to catch them before they fall, and I did practice it for a bit, but I eventually realized that it would be useless on a real scenario, as I would need to be expecting it. Very improbable in reality, a dead end, and research was halted. Second most annoying were reusable supermarket bags. Any touch on them was loud, even if very slow. I usually prefer to bypass them by using the lift strategy. To do that, I would get as close to them as possible, and then bypass, as it would ensure I'm having to lift for the shortest distance and time possible, minimizing the chance of a loss of balance. Anyway, the boxes, foam thing and bubble wrap were okay. Just don't step on or touch them too fast and you should be good. Extra notes. Keeping your arms lifted at the height and your hands aligned with but not touching your chest avoids you bumping headfirst into things and also seems to have a positive effect on balance. This is not 100% related to the topic, but it sort of is. I realized that if you are in a room that is completely dark, you can point your torch to the ceiling and have the light just reflect off into everything else, thus lighting up the room in a uniform manner. You can also use your hand to limit how much light the torch outputs, therefore how much it lights up the room. This is potentially better than just pointing the torch at stuff, as that can reveal your exact position or wake up somebody if you accidentally point the light directly to their face. Alright, this is it for walking in complete darkness. Next episode will probably be about wall movement. Thank you for watching.